Hey, yeah, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Watch this video. Hi, hello. Thank you for tuning in to Lonely Afro. Today, I'll be talking about a Metroidvania called 9 Years of Shadows, one of the Metroidvanias to be created this year. That's all. Thanks for watching. 9 Years of Shadows is a Metroidvania unlike any other I've experienced. I know, real original statement, but hear me out. The game starts off with a curse that plagues the land, killing those too weak to fend for themselves. This sounds a bit too familiar for Metroidvania. We start with our heroine, Europa, who for some unknown reason is unaffected by the curse. Meanwhile, everyone she loved dearly have been taken by the curse, driven mad, and eventually dying. She had withstood the effects of the curse almost all by herself for 9 years. Finally, she heads to the castle to fight the demon that caused the curse. This is Belial, the demon of ruin and destruction, consumed by hatred and rage. Europa fights the demon with all of her might, but in the end, her efforts had fallen before the unstoppable monstrosity. Ever since the curse came into the world, Europa had trouble trusting anyone. She could never rely on anyone else, always stabbed in the back, until a little bear comes along. This is Lapino, a small ghost able to restore color and light to those around him. Alpino is your one and only companion who will be helping you on your journey. And so, Europa and Alpino start their mission to stop the evil plaguing this land. This game seems to be reminiscent of Castlevania Circle of the Moon or even Aria of Sorrow. The art style is like a remastered version of Circle of the Moon, while the combat is a lot like one of the GBA Castlevanias, or maybe even one of the DS titles such as Portrait of Ruin or Dawn of Sorrow. It even has a similar boss ending, like in Symphony of the Night, the first time you fight Dracula. While traversing the castle, you will run into these musicians that can supply you with upgrade materials for light, HP, and armor shards. Each one of these musicians have unique dialogue and are very memorable characters. My favorite being an upbeat, schizophrenic drummer who is joyful despite quite literally going insane and being trapped inside the cursed castle. I'm gonna be honest here. The game felt kinda slow when I first started out. The platforming was really simple, the combat was a bit basic. I just wasn't getting my Metroidvania fix that I was looking for. That was until I found the Poseidon armor. Now, at first glance, the Poseidon armor isn't really all that special because it pretty much just allows you to be able to walk underwater. But for me, it was more so the upgrade to the Poseidon armor, which allows you to swim through the water. And that's when it clicked. Not only could you walk underwater, you can also do attacks, and even be able to swim across waterfalls, up waterfalls. I was a huge fan of this because I love free movement when it comes to platformers. Our next piece of armor is the Gaia armor. This one's pretty straightforward. This one allows you to travel through areas that are covered in poison. With the armor upgrade, you can also travel through the earth. This piece of armor is mostly for exploration. And finally, we have the Helios armor. Just like all the other armor pieces, when it's initially acquired, it just allows you to walk through the element of the area. But the upgrade to this armor piece allows you to glide through areas and straight up explode. The explosions from this armor piece allow you to gain some air, increasing your glide capabilities. Next up, I'll talk about the bosses. Some bosses, especially early game, can be kind of lackluster. Some become more fun once they hit their second phase and surprise you, just like the Serpent boss. Others are just outright unfair and make you want to yourself and waste 15 minutes of your time just to end up killing you and make you travel 5 minutes through the map just to fight the again. Yeah, it was one of those bosses. Not all the bosses are as frustrating as, let's say, the secret boss at the very end of the game. The more difficult ones usually have some sort of pattern to follow, so just like any other game, it's trial and error. For the most part, I enjoyed most of the bosses in this game. A lot of them were really fun in combat. Some had unique boss rooms and platforming, while others solely rely on their own abilities. And I've got to say, the most unique boss award has got to go to the chess boss. When I first fought this boss, I had no clue what I was doing. First, I was just trying to hit the pieces or dodge whatever pieces came at me, but clearly that wasn't the answer. Then I noticed all of the chess pieces had the colors around them, as if each piece had their own elemental weakness. So I fought this boss as intended. Without a doubt, the fight still was not easy at all, but fun nonetheless. As you can see, the chess pieces even move as if they're on the chessboard, and their attacks correspond in a similar way. This game has to have one of the most insane final bosses I've ever fought. Of course, everything leads back to Belial. Well, not as nearly bad as the secret boss in this game. Still put up quite a challenge. This boss will most definitely have you using all of your armor pieces. It felt as if I was going through my own personal bullet hell, which everything was just way too hard to dodge for me. And keep in mind, this is only the second phase. The third and final phase is when things really start to heat up. This is when the bullet hell really comes to play. I'm going to be honest, this boss took me at least 5 tries, and that was only during the first 2 phases. This final phase this boss doesn't exactly have a pattern. As you can see, it's just random projectiles just everywhere. I'm not exactly a connoisseur of bullet hell games, so this definitely put me on the edge of my seat. In the end, you still lose to this boss. Even after overcoming all sorts of bosses, sharpening your skills, and becoming stronger, there's still just no possible way to really defeat this thing. In the end, all it takes is some light to stop the darkness. The direction this game was going, I was actually really surprised to see a pretty good ending. After the final battle, the curse finally lifts. Color and light start to return to the world. After all their hardships, Europa and Nepino finally find peace. I want to thank all of you who had come out to see this video and watched to the end. This is most definitely out of my comfort zone, but regardless, I enjoyed making this video. Of all the things this game had to offer, the music was absolutely fantastic. This has become one of my most favorite OSTs I have ever heard. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.